There are so many good questions that you guys sent in, but the first one that I am going to read is from Gina in Birmingham, Alabama. And she
Hi, Gina.
asks, how do we protect our hearts and minds from hatred and judgment for those who openly declare they want to kill us because we are infidels and not only deserve to be killed, but need to be killed?
Wow. That's a question that I am going to assume is about Muslims. And okay, so let's unpack it a little bit. One of the things that we do, and actually it's a really centerpiece in this book, is that we have this, because of our fear and because of our not having experiences outside the box of what's normal to us, is that we tend to categorize and box people up and say, these people are like this. Well, I have good friends who are Muslim, and they're not thinking about us being infidels, and they have no intention of killing anybody. There is a lot about the community of humanity where people have been raised in very diverse kinds of religions, but they don't deserve to be put into a box and then dealt with as just a faceless, nameless group of people. I have a friend of mine whose name is Jim Henderson. He's in Seattle. And in fact, I was talking to him today. He just saw The Shack today, the movie. And Jim said to me a long time ago, he said, relationship breaks the rules. And a lot of times our fear is based on anonymity of either them or us. I think that's one of the reasons that the internet can be incredibly destructive. I think it can be incredibly positive and powerful. But anonymity not only gives the voiceless a voice, but it allows some of us to hide behind that anonymity and be very cruel and destructive in terms of our communications. So let's get rid of the boxes. But that means, maybe it's time to build a relationship with a Muslim and see. Maybe it's time to get outside of the box that seems normal to us. Maybe it's time to talk about the fears that we have, which you're doing, by the way, and that's an incredibly brave question, especially right now. But we're at a place in our culture and in our history, in this country and in the world, where divisions are becoming so obvious that we're going to have to make some choices about whether we're going to find ways to break those walls down or begin to annihilate one another. And I'm suggesting that there is a way forward in this conversation, but it's going to take some risk on your part. I can tell you point blank that the vast majority of Muslims have no intention of killing anybody. And if you knew the history of the Middle East, for example, you'd know that for hundreds, if not thousands of years, Muslims, Jews, and Christians have been living in great relationship with each other. It's the divisions of politics and what has been then now enforced upon that whole conversation that has driven them apart. But many of them are best of friends, continuing to be best of friends to this day. I have friends who are working in Bethlehem and with the Palestinians and the Israelis and trying to find a way to find peace. I was just at a conference recently where Muslims and Jews and Christians were all in the conversation, and they were centered around the person of Jesus. And because I think Jesus is the way forward in this conversation, for me personally, but I think for the whole human race. Because our religious stuff, it causes a whole lot of issues. And again, one of the chapters in here is that the lie is that God supports my religion. And so it fits in pretty well. So thank you for the question.